I'm Marty Moore, owner and driver of the Hemi Express Wheel Standard. Welcome to my hot rod garage. Hey everyone, this time on the hot rod garage we got a 65 Dodge Coronet 440. It's my buddy's car. It's got a lot of cool history. His grandmother bought this car brand new, and he was with his grandmother when she bought this car, so it's got a lot of sentimental attachment for him. What we're going to do with this thing is we're going to make a Maxwedge tribute car out of it. So he came up with a 440 short block that he got. He brought over, we checked it out, it was a 440, it was bored 60 over, which makes it about a 452, I believe. Then he came up with some Maxwedge parts, some really cool, the real 518 heads, the intake, the original carbs, and everything. So this will make Grandma's car really come to life. So in this episode, what we're going to be doing, we're going to be finding true top dead center on the thing. We're going to be putting the cam in. We've got an NOS Lunati cam that we're going to be degreeing that in. We're going to clay check our piston, our valve to pistons clearance. So we're just going to get it ready to put on the run stand and make some noise. So let's get ready and let's turn some wrenches. Guys, here's another good practice right here to do. This, normally you would do this before it's assembled, but take a thread chaser, not a tap, a thread chaser, and go through all your bolt holes just to make sure that, you know, everything's out of there. That way when you torque your heads, you know, you're going to get accurate readings. And what I always do is I have a little marker here. You can see where I've marked, you know, every one, like here on the other side of the engine as I do them, because back here in the garage, right, I'll be out here and the phone will ring, and then you walk away and you come back and you forget where you left off. So just have a little marker there, and as you're doing them, just take your little, just put a little check by that so you know you've done that one. Just a good practice, and really all your you know, run your thread chaser through everything. Just a good practice. All right, guys, what we're doing here is we're finding top dead center on this motor. There's a lot of different ways to do it. I'm just telling you what works for me. Keep in mind, I'm not a professional engine builder. You know, I'm just an old redneck out here in my garage. But the professional engine builders are good, guys. They'll have degree wheels, you know, looks like a steering wheel on a boat. That's all great. But what I'm trying to show you is, you know, if you can't afford that $15,000 or $20,000 for an engine builder, we can do this in the garage. You know, it's kind of crude, but we can do it. But anyhow, top dead center is very important. I was talking to a guy, it's like the way we used to do it, we'd bring the piston up to the top of the hole, that's top dead center. We put the timing chain on there and line the marks up, and that was good. Well, this is like shooting a rifle. The closer you are, like you put a scope on, and if you're off at 20 feet, a 1/16 of an inch, no big deal. At 100 yards, you're off an inch, I mean, so same thing like if you're building a house. If you're out of level, the foundation, it fights you clear out. So the closer we can be on this, the better off we are. So a guy was explaining to me one time, he said, this is top dead center. He said, no, it's approximate top dead center. And I kind of looked at him like, huh? He said, no, that's just approximate top dead center. And he explained to me why, and I got studying about it. When I got home and I said to myself, and I knew it was me because I recognized my voice, I said, that guy's right. So what's going on, here we got our piston. So this comes up, your piston's coming to the top of your cylinder, and your rod's on this side of your crank. So it's coming up like this. Now it stops, it's quit travel, but the rod has to go from this side to this side before it starts back down. So the dwell, I'm going to call that dwell, is what we're trying to take out of it. So to find true top dead center, what we're going to do is we're going to get close here. What I think's close with my dial indicator. Okay, so then dial indicator set on 0. Now I'm going to go 50 thousandths down in the cylinder on each side. Okay, here I'm coming a little bit more. There's 50 thousandths. So then I want to mark this on my degree wheel here, and I'm at 12 degrees. So now I want to go back the other way. I want to find the other side. So here we're coming back. There's top dead center. I'm going to go 50 thousandths to the other side. I'm going to go back and come back to it. There's 50 thousandths. So here you can see on the degree wheel, we're 12. So actually, I took some time setting this up, so lots of times you have to play with it. So now we know that when we come back to 0, we're at true top dead center because we went on both sides of it. So when we're back to 0, a little bit too far. Right here, we're at exactly top dead center. So I showed you that. That's how you do it with the dial indicator. A lot of guys say you can't use a dial indicator. The only way to get true top dead center is use a piston stop. So here's what we're going to do. We'll just take our dial indicator off, set it off to the side. We'll put a piston stop on here. What you want to do is get your stop as close to the center of the piston as you can, because your piston will rock somewhat. So we want to keep that stop as close as we can to the center of the piston. Now what I'm going to do, we know that we're top dead center here, so we just want to check this. So what I want to do is I want to go down in the cylinder bore. I'll just go 20 degrees. See, it's moving down there. So I move down 20 degrees here on my degree wheel. So you can see 20 there. Now what I want to do is just screw this piston stop down, just where it's touching the top. There we go, we're touching the top of the piston. So 20 degrees down. So now what we want to do is go around the other side and come back up. Now we're coming back up, coming back up. And there we touched. And there we are at 20 degrees. So we know that we're exact top dead center. So there you can see it doesn't matter either way that you want to do it. You can do it with a dial indicator. You can do it with a piston stop. Whichever way works. Like I said, just make yourself a little indicator. This is a coat hanger, and this is a cheap degree wheel. Like I say, professional engine builders, they have the big ones. It's real nice. So now that we got this, we've got top dead center established. We know where that's at. Next thing we'll do is I got this cam slid in there. We'll degree this cam and make sure it's what it's supposed to be. To set our dial indicator up, I got a lifter in here. You want to keep all this geometry as straight as you can. I always just take a little square, just kind of lay it in there, just to, you know what I mean? You want to keep this and then keep this with the block this way also. The straighter we can keep that, the better off we are. To me, guys, what this is, it's like the closer that you can be on everything, it's like sighting a rifle in. Like if you put a scope on a rifle, if you shoot it at 20 feet, you're only off a 1/16 of an inch. If you shoot it 100 yards, you're off 2 inches. If you shoot it 200 yards, you're off 4 inches. So the closer we can be on everything, the better off we are. So I went ahead and put this cam in here yesterday. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I put it in, and I put it in straight up. And I checked my numbers on it, and I was retarded 2 degrees. So I put it back in and I advanced it 2 degrees. So now we're going to check it again. So what we want to do, we want to find the center, the high point on our cam. So what we're going to do, see, we're not moving here. We're not moving. The dial indicator's not moving. So we're going on the circle, on the circle, on the circle. Maybe it ain't got a lobe on it. Here we come. So here we come up. We're riding the lobe, coming up. We're coming up. We're coming up. We're coming up. We're coming up. And I've already set my dial indicator right there. Right there. We're just about dead nuts on the top. So what I want to do to get my true center line is I want to back up now. I want to back up 50 thousandths. So I'm going to come back down, come back down, come back down. There we are at 50 thousandths. Okay, now what we want to do is come out here and we want to mark our wheel. We want to mark our wheel. So this is 162 and a half. I'm going to call that 162 and a half. And I write these numbers down, but I always take a little pencil, make a mark on the wheel. Make a little mark on the wheel. So now we're at 50 thousandths, so now we want to come back the other side. Here we come back up to, there we're back on top. Now I want to go 50 thousandths on the other side of the lobe. There we're coming back down. Coming back down. I want to go a little bit past because I don't want to take the slack of the chain out. Now I'm going to come back to 50. Okay, now we want to mark our wheel again. So here we marked our wheel. You can see my little mark there. So I'm going to call that 50, about 58 and a half. And guys, I don't know if you can see my pointer here. I just made that out of a coat hanger or whatever. You can use whatever. So then, we write our numbers down. So I've got 58 and a half. So I'll take 58.5. And my other number was 162 plus 162.5. Add those together, 221. Divide that by 2. And I got 110 and a half, which I'm within a half a degree. If I look at my cam card here, center line's 110. So I'm going to call that good for the center line. So the next thing that we can do with the cam is check our lift to make sure that we have the lift right. Guys, what we're doing is just verifying, because this is an old cam. This is a Lunati. It's an old cam. The guy bought it. It's been around. We're just verifying that this is what it's supposed to be. So that's why we're doing all this. So let's go back down. We're going to go back down now. on the bottom of the lobe. Okay, there we are. We see that we're on the bottom of the lobe. So I'm going to twist this guy right here around to 0 so we know that we're at 0 there. Now we're going to come around. We're going to start back up. Okay, and we're going to count the rotations. So there's, every time we go around, it's 100,000. So there's 1, 2, 3, 'Right there's about it. So I'm going to call that 347. So now we'll take our 347. We'll take our 347. 347 times 1.5. That's our rocker ratio. And that gives us 520.5. Which, if we look at our cam card, our lift is 520. So we're within a half a degree of what we're, so we're thinking this cam is looking good for what it is. And guys, what we're doing when we're degreeing this is we're just verifying that the cam is what it says it is. Like you buy those at swap meets or something, they get put in the wrong box. And like I say, we put this one in yesterday, and we just put it in straight up, what I call straight up, just lining the dots up. And it was about 112 center line. So that was retarded. So what we done was we advanced it 2 degrees, and that brought it to 110. So 110 and a half, but we're within a half a degree where we need to be. So we should be good to go on this. So we'll go on to the next step. All right, what we're going to do next on this thing, we want to check our valve to piston clearance. The last thing we need is a valve coming up and kissing that piston. So I've got some Play-Doh here. Modeling clay works better. Guys, there's a couple different ways to do this. You can use like the test springs and put them on the head and a dial indicator and push it down. I like the clay better. So what we're going to do in this piston relief here, we're just going to take our Play-Doh and just push it down in there. We just want to make an impression of that valve when it comes down. Might have a little bit too much out there. Alright, let's try that. We don't want our valve sticking to that. A little oil on there. Just set our head on here. There we go. We don't have to put all the bolts in this. just enough to snug it down. Guys, when I'm showing you this stuff, once again, I want to stress that I'm not a professional engine builder here. I'm just an old hillbilly doing this in my garage, and I'm just showing you what's worked for me over the years. And there's a lot of good motor shops out there, guys. So like the big shops, they've got all the CNCs and the lathes, and I'm not taking anything away from them. If you can afford to go to one of them places, by all means do it. I'm just showing you this. You know, guys like me, I've never had any money. I just had to make do with what I had. So this is what's worked for me over the years. The guys at work, I used to tell them I've done so much for so long with so little. I'm now qualified to do anything with nothing. That's kind of my motto. But what we're doing here, we'll just get this head bolted on. And then we can put some push rods in here and adjust these valves and run this motor around and see what kind of clearance we got. I didn't put a head gasket on here, so for your total clearance you'll have to add the thickness of your head gasket. Okay guys, now we got an impression of our valves here. So what we can do, let's take our razor knife and take a little cut of this here. Same thing over here. Now what we can do is we can take our dial indicator and we can measure this here, our valve clearance. Typically we want, I think rule of thumb is on intake, you want at least 80 thousandths on intake and 100 thousandths on exhaust. I don't even think that we're going to be close here, but it looks like we've got looks like I've got about 190 thousandths on the intake. And I'm even better than that. I'm at like 210 on the exhaust. So you can see, this is the reason I like the clay method over because see, I can check my eyebrow here. So I can also check my clearance this way. I can check my clearance this way to my cutout on my piston, where if you just had your springs in there, you wouldn't be able to do that. So we have all kind of I have plenty clearance there. See the same thing here. So guys, that's just a cheap insurance. You know, we've checked that now. We know that we have clearance on our intake and our exhaust, so we don't have to worry about you know, valve to piston clearance. So that's one less thing to worry about. So now we can go ahead and put these heads on there, torque them up, and start putting everything together. We've got our timing chain in. We've got, we verified that. Like I say, we had to put it in. We advanced it 2 degrees to put it in straight up, just lining the dots up. Like I said, it was at 112. So cam manufacturer says 110. That's where it's designed to run. So we advanced it 2 degrees. So now we know we've got our cam in. We're at 110 degrees on our cam. We know we've got piston to valve clearance. That's not an issue. So I think we're ready to start putting this bad boy together. Guys, I normally work by myself, especially building a motor. So the old white-haired hippie-looking dude roaming around looks like a homeless guy, you know, well, I had to let him in here. It's his car, so that's what you're seeing. Torquing your heads, make sure that you always follow the proper torque sequence. Guys, here at the Hot Rod Garage, I tell you, I've really been blessed over the years. I've met a lot of wonderful people. And this is my buddy Ron. He's the carburetor guru. So it's good if you know people. You know, I got a guy for everything. You know, I'm a carburetor guy, a transmission guy. You know, you can't know everything. So it's good if you have good friends like this that you can count on. The carburetors on this thing were the original carbs. They've set for, the guy estimated about 15 years, so we didn't want to take a chance. So Ron came down and we're going through the carbs, rebuilding them, getting them all ready to go. Real blessing to have good friends. All right, guys, that's about it for this time on Marty's Hot Rod Garage. Guys, if you like what we're doing, please hit the like and subscribe button. I'm very technology challenged. I can build a motor quicker than I can make one of these videos. But if you like what we're doing, subscribe to the channel. Maybe we'll try to keep these videos coming. So here's the Maxwedge build. We've got it on the motor stand. On the next episode, we'll be firing it up, breaking the cam in, and hopefully it'll make some noise if we get it to do. Uh-oh. What?